I thought I was just going to meet my girlfriend's parents for dinner. I had rehearsed every possible conversation in my head. What if her father didn't like me? What if I said something wrong? Emma kept smiling and telling me not to worry, but my heart refused to calm down. When we reached the front door, it slowly opened. Her father looked straight into my eyes. For a few seconds, he didn't say a single word. Then he smiled, reached out his hand, and quietly said, "I've been waiting to meet you." I forced a smile, but inside I was completely confused. Waiting for me? We had never met before. How could he possibly know who I was? Dinner felt normal. We laughed. We talked about work, childhood memories, and future plans. But every time I looked at him, I noticed him watching me with grateful eyes, as if he knew something I didn't. After dinner, he asked me to step outside onto the porch. The cool evening air filled the silence between us. Finally, he spoke. "5 years ago," he said softly, "my family was falling apart. My wife had been diagnosed with cancer. The treatments were expensive. I had sold my car, borrowed money from friends, and even thought about selling our home. There was nothing left. I remember standing outside the hospital in the rain. I wasn't crying because I was weak. I was crying because I had run out of hope. I listened quietly. His voice became emotional. Then someone walked toward me, a young man. He didn't ask my name. He didn't ask what happened. He simply handed me an envelope. Before I could stop him, he smiled and said, "Sometimes strangers become the answer to someone's prayer." And then he disappeared. I felt my heart beating faster, because those words sounded familiar, very familiar. He looked directly into my eyes. There was enough money inside that envelope to pay for my wife's treatment. There was no name, no phone number, no way to thank him. I slowly lowered my head. I finally remembered. 5 years earlier, I had received my first salary. While walking home, I saw a man standing outside a hospital in the rain. He looked completely broken. Something inside me told me to help him. So I withdrew every dollar I had saved, placed it inside an envelope, handed it to him, and walked away. I never expected to see him again. I never told anyone, not even Emma. Her father smiled through his tears. My wife survived. She lived long enough to watch Emma graduate. She celebrated birthdays we thought she'd never see. You gave us time, the greatest gift anyone could ever receive. He reached into his pocket, carefully unfolded an old envelope. It was worn and faded. I've carried this with me every day, not because of the money, but because it reminds me that good people still exist. At that moment, Emma quietly walked onto the porch. She had heard everything. Tears filled her eyes. She hugged her father. Then she hugged me. None of us spoke, because sometimes silence says more than words ever can. A few months later, I asked Emma to marry me. Before she could answer, her father smiled, placed his hand on my shoulder, and said, "I trusted you long before you ever loved my daughter." That day, I realized something I'll never forget. Kindness never truly disappears, even when no one knows your name, even when no one says thank you. Every good deed leaves a mark on someone's life. And sometimes, years later, life finds a beautiful way to bring that kindness back.